Hello, hello, hello world. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk, and I am blessed to have a magnificent couple here with me to have a conversation about their book. They were on a show of mine, a radio show not too long ago, and Marriage Can Win. And for those of you who don't think it could win, you got to rethink this thing. You know that those that come on the show, I try to be practical, honest, and real. I don't sugarcoat it because, you know, when you get behind closed doors, ain't nothing sugarcoated unless you make it that way. So
Right.
you got work to do. And this couple is doing some amazing things in Florida, up here in Atlanta as well, with the book and with workshops and strategic coaching and all kinds of things. And so this couple is Sakeisha and Eric are here, Hylick. So I'm glad you guys are here in the studio with me. I really appreciate you taking your time. And I want you to come on and talk about what you're doing and the impact that you're making, you know, around the country and helping couples realize that their marriage can win. Because my husband and I, a Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy, we get a lot of couples. And in the beginning, they just don't think they're going to be able to come back. It's like the door of death in their marriage relationship. But working with them over time helps them to understand that it's worth the journey. You know, we tell them all the time, we're on the same journey you are. I can get irritated with my husband and he can get irritated with me. We're very transparent about that. But we have the tools to understand that we don't stay in a conflict zone forever. You know, we get out of there, maybe the next 5 minutes, I pat him on the butt and give him a kiss and like, what do you want to drink? And you want me to fix your hamburger? So we make it a point to stay in that, what we call is the circle. And that's our comfort zone. That's that place that when he gets off work, he wants to be glad to run home to, and me as well. So talk to us about your couples and what you're doing and the couples that you guys are running into.
Well, right now, my husband, because he was in Miami for a period of time, so that's like a totally different conversation. We had to learn how to love from a distance because I lived in Orlando for a while and he was in Miami for about 5-6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of the couples that we started to interact with were based out of Miami, but they're millennials. So their thought pattern, their thought pattern about marriage was totally different from a lot of that we had encountered. So it got to the point where you're trying to get their perspective on how they saw marriage, how they were learning, what they were learning, why they have this thought pattern, and start trying to understand where they're coming from, as well as to help them understand our point of view.
Right.
When it comes to marriage.
Yeah, that thought pattern was, I mean, they were like 25, 26,
right,
30.
Right.
They're like, well, man, marriage is an old institution. You know, it's really outdated. It needs to be changed. You know, because they were like, you know, right now, one young lady was like, her boyfriend was moving in with her. She's putting him on her benefits as a domestic partner. You know, typically, you know, they changed all these laws about marriage now. They make domestic partner, which is typically same sex. But in this case, you know, the definition is tweaked so it could be, you know, total opposite sex, just girlfriend, and they get the same benefits as being married. Right. So boyfriend's moving in with her. He gets all the medical, dental, vision, you know, all the benefits. Married, and they're not married. So and it's like, we don't need to be married, and you know. It was like, really?
It was their mindset, you know, because it's like at that particular generation, it's like, you have to prove to me. They want to see the tangible results.
Absolutely.
Why do I need to be married?
So that's kind of the space that we're in. Although we still work with our other couples that are, you know, 35 and up. We work with couples that are into their 60s.
Yeah, we get some of those too. We had a couple that been married 35 years, and I told my husband, I said, we got to pray on this because I don't know what to tell these people at 35 years if they endured it this long.
I got you.
But they needed to kind of respark, and we find that it doesn't matter the years, because what matters is the not so much the quantity of the years, but the quality of the marriage. And so we honed in on that part of the quality. What quality are you getting out the marriage? Allow them to say 3 different things of what they wanted. And then we were able to kind of cherry pick some things, and I was able to help them from the woman's perspective, because of course her needs were not being met and the men's needs were not being met, but they were not sexual needs. They were other needs, you know. He just, you know, watched the football with me, and she was, you know, go to the flea market with me. So they were some very small, minute things, but those things were important to each one of them. And then we go to the spectrum of the young people, like you guys were talking about. Well, we do the premarital with the young people, and we do a very practical, down to earth, real talk with the young people. My husband likes them a lot better because they are impressionable, and you know, they're kind of easy to talk with, unless they've gotten a lot of years up under the belt of a lot of heartache and pain and things of that nature. But those millennials, they don't know where they're headed, and they don't even know how to begin to establish the household, because at the end of the day, we tell them, you're on the same journey we're on, and you're going to run into, there's going to be landmines, and that's what we call them, landmines. They're going to be there. And then there's some hanging fruit up there at the top. Either one of those can take you down. Yeah. So you have to be a team and cognizant of that. So when you guys are talking about your book, Marriage Can Win, what are you actually saying to the couples at that point? How are you pushing the point that you know, when you get through that rough patch and things happen, when you want to turn around, when you want to say, look, I'm out, how do you navigate them to understanding that this can be?
Well, if the point you're talking about is like they're getting ready to end it, you know, that's the point where they got to take a look and say, well, first of all, let's, you know, whether you end it or whether you turn this around, let's look at what the problem is. What is the source that caused you to get to this point where you're talking about ending it? Because whether, like I said, whether you move forward in this relationship or when you move forward to another relationship, you don't want to repeat that same cycle and end up back here. So now let's find out what's the problem. And that's what they need to communicate what the issue is. 9 times out of 10, I just spoke with a gentleman just recently, it's the small things that build up over time.
Absolutely.
You know, and it just builds and accumulates to a exploding point where you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not going to change, you know, and I'm tired of making, you know, compromises with, I'm the only one making the compromise and you're just getting your way. Right. And that's typically what we hear, and it's coming from both sides. And that's compromise. But women say, well, I'm always making compromises to you, and you're pigheaded and don't want to change. Right. So we got to figure out, well, what is it? So is it something simple like, okay, like you mentioned, watching television together? The man said, well, I just want to watch. I want you to come watch television, show some interest in something that I like. Right. Because I'm always going with you shopping, and I'm always doing what you want to do. I eat what you want to eat. I eat what you want to eat. I do what you want to do, but you never do anything that I want to do. Yeah. And you reciprocate that to me, you know? Yeah. Yeah. And they get tired of it, and I'm like, look, I'm done. You know? And then, because it comes from either outside stimulation, or the person just fed up, and then something on the outside said, oh, well, you're not compromised, but I found someone else that's willing to, you know, put themselves first. Yeah, yeah. And, you know, and I'm just totally, you know, I hear them when they go into that thing, but you know what, guys, the excuses kind of takes me back. You know, because I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I get that, but you know, this happened 1, 2, 3 times kind of thing, and we all have a mechanism of choice, and I kind of don't let my couples off on that too much. Well, my husband is a clinical part. Okay, he's the clinical, and he's the book, and he's the right words and the right way to say it. I just wasn't going with that at all. So I just said how God gives me to say it. Now you just know that was not the right thing to do.
But we do understand that what we don't do, we don't throw them under the bus, but we understand that, you know, things happen in marriages and even in relationships, they happen. So how are we going to get past that and move to the other side? Because truly there is a bright side of this. Some people say, well, your marriage is going to be better when this happens, but I don't think that it's better when it happens. I think it's better because we have it. We begin to realize a little differently. Not that this bad thing made it happen and made it better, but that bad thing caused you to look at it a little differently. And now you don't want to go back there, to ever go back there. And I think too, another thing is establishing, because I think a lot of times older couples did not establish their home. They mimicked what they thought it should be. So it wasn't established. So it's not like, here are the boundaries, because people will say you don't need boundaries, but I know sometimes you don't want to hear that, but you do. You do need boundaries, because my husband's cousin can't come at 2 o'clock in the morning and think it's okay, you know, or you can't just ring the phone constantly, or you can't just go ask for money and say, don't tell your wife. So it has to be some establishment of boundaries in there, and a why. So when you're working with your couples and they decide that they're just tired of this and they're tired of that, are you, or how do you get them to actually, give me a kind of an example of how they've come together? When somebody, because they're never going to be on the same page at the same time.
Right.
Somebody's going to do better one week and the other person is going to do terrible the next week and all that kind of stuff. When they come together, what happens then? Where do you guys go with them from that point? Do you stay with them for a length of time, or how do you do that?
I mean, we definitely follow up with them, but with a lot of them, we schedule that time for them to come together. They have a meeting and they bring their 2 or 3 points that are really, really like just the thing that's driving the nail in the coffin.
Right.
Time they talk about it, and they set ground rules. You know, you're going to get 30 minutes to talk uninterrupted. I'm not allowed to interrupt you. I can take notes, but you get my undivided attention, which means we're probably away from the house, away from the kids. You schedule a babysitter, whatever it needs to be, so you can really work on the relationship. And then you do the same thing with the other spouse. They're talking uninterrupted, because if not, we go from point A to B to C. Next thing you know, we've been around the entire alphabet, and the issue is
absolutely true. Right.
So that's how you limit it to 3 things. Absolutely. And then that way, the 2 of them have to come together, because you have to be realistic in terms of their schedules. And you can set a time for like a week, 2 weeks. And those are the 3 things that they are committed to working on. They will come up with the alternate, with their resolutions of what they feel is an acceptable resolution together. And they have to work on that. And then you follow up about a week or 2 and see how they're doing. Be mindful, change doesn't take place overnight.
Absolutely.
It's a work in progress, but at least if you see my spouse is actually working on these 3 things to try to get the relationship back on track, then that's that driving factor to continue to work towards maintaining the marriage. But you can't have a laundry list of 30 things you want. That person's head is going to start spinning, because
my
husband limited about 3 to make.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one thing. You're absolutely correct on that. And I think, you know, sometimes as women, at least the ones that we work with, they want to say, he do this, and I'm like, stop. You cannot sit up here and give me 10 things that he's doing wrong, you know, and men just don't gravitate to that, you know, or my husband might interject, you know, let's start with 1 or 2. Like, I give him 2 at least, you know, because nobody wants to, because then it becomes being attacked at that point. And then it becomes being devalued at that point. So you're absolutely correct on that. It is kind of, I think they like the hand holding to a point, but then they like the accountability as well. Do you guys find that?
Yeah.
Yes.
They do.
Once we keep the steps, like she mentioned, simple, you know, like you said, we normally say 3. Like each of you come up with those 3 things. Identify the top 3 things that is really an issue with your relationship. You write them down. Then those 3 things, you come up with maybe 3 or 4 other things or solutions, or like you said, solutions. And you say, well, I feel that if we do this, That's one resolution. That's one, and then two, we could do this, or we could do this, or we could do this.
Yeah.
And then you kind of amongst yourselves pick the the number one you want to start trying first.
Yeah. Right.
And then you work on that.
And that encourages them to kind of think from the other person's perspective, because your spouse may come up with a resolution that you never even considered. And then you're like, oh, you know what? That is a way to deal with it. It opens your eyes, it causes them to think, and it gives them that time to kind of really focus on one another and become more intentional.
That's true. And that's kind of like what you're saying is you're working as a team.
Yeah.
Right.
Getting them to work cohesively as a team.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because a lot of times you can't talk verbally, you need to write it down. And, because before you're so busy trying to jump in, trying to get your point across, you never really heard what the other person's issue is. So this gives them both a chance to really understand what it is that the other person is having a problem with or they're feeling. And because once you run, oh, baby, I didn't know that's all you needed, just by writing it down.
Right.
Because they're so busy not thinking about listening or hearing the other person, they're just angry because they're not even hearing what they're saying because they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then it culminates into.
Absolutely, absolutely. What about you guys? I think I saw on Facebook this morning you were talking about the 2 words that will save your life.
Oh, the 2 letters.
I knew those. I passed that test quickly because I knew what those 2 words were. Let's talk a little bit about that.
You know what? I had to be honest with myself.
Right.
I found myself at a point of overwhelm as a wife, as a mother, as a pharmacist, working with marriages, writing books, doing conferences. You can become overwhelmed. Yeah. And when you're overwhelmed and you're depleted, you can't be your best self for your family. You're tired, you're worn out. I start operating at high emotions, low intelligence real quick. So you had to realize it's like you said, you have to set boundaries to protect your mental space.
Absolutely.
You see people that are taking their own lives. You have women that are strong, men that are strong, but they don't have anyone that's checking on them. We're pouring out and giving to the point where we're depleted. So you have to realize it's important to be able to say no. And I had to explain that as my husband, baby. Yeah. Sometimes I'm going to have to say no. Tell that to the kids. And it's hard. Because you want to please them, you want them to be happy, but in order to protect your mental space, sometimes you just gotta say N-O.
Absolutely, you have to do that, and I tell some of my ladies too, and you have to say it, and you have to know how to say it too. Yeah. You can't, you just can't go crazy and ratchet and say no. You got to say it. But it was like I used to get up my husband at 4:30 in the morning before he goes, and we were in our office and checked email, and he was I think he was reading the Bible, and you came on, and so I turned it on and I turned it up loud on the speaker, and he's like, "Who's that? What is that?" And he said, "Yeah, that's right." And I looked at him, I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't accept no too well. When I tell you no." So I was letting you do my work for me. She couldn't do more. So I thank you for that. So he took that, he said, "Yeah, babe, you do good at that." I said, yeah. I just said, "No more." I just let it stand. Whatever God gave you this morning, I was good with it. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, man.
That was so funny. So tell us about the fun. You guys talk about fun. Now, my husband and I are silly people. We have a lot of fun. We're silly. We're crazy. And we're silly. We're just the 2 of us. And we use ourselves a lot with our couples because we want to be as transparent as possible. We want to let them know that you can be married and have fun. For some reason, I guess 25, 30, 50 years ago, that was not what you did. You didn't show laughter. You didn't show affection in front of people. You didn't show that connection. But that gives that marriage, closeness, teamwork a bad name because that's a normal process of human beings is to laugh, to touch, to greet, and even for our children to be able to see that. So let's talk about the fun that you talk to your couples about.
I mean, it's important when you're dating, you enjoy each other's presence. You go to the movies, you may, take to town. You have to enjoy. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with my husband, I've got to enjoy this time together. True. And he's the one that
yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's fun.
He knows how to bring a smile on my face, and that's one of the things I have to thank God for, because there could be some times in our lives where I could be stressed out, like, okay, so how am I going to accomplish X, Y, and Z? And he'll just do something to make me laugh, and it's just okay, it's over and done with. I can't even be stressed anymore.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I think they got a good way of words of doing things, because they know they can pull on us like that. My husband, the kitchen needs to be done, or he made some spaghetti like he did last night, and the kitchen spaghetti is a mess. He's a mess when he makes spaghetti. And then he'll come and he'll say, you know what, babe? And I was like, what, honey? I want to go marry you all over again. So I'm done. I'm done. I'm cooking and cleaning everything about that part. And he knows exactly how to do that. So you got to have fun. You got to know your partner enough to know how far, when they get into a jam, you got to be able to bring them back. And sometimes it's just the smallest little thing that does that. And especially, the way it works. When he comes home and if we go out or he takes me somewhere, he's always driving. And I'll tell him, I said, honey, you know what? I thank you for getting us home safe, because you do that all the time. And that just is the biggest thing for him. He just kind of lights up, but just letting him know that I appreciate everything he does. And I tell our couples, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go buy diamond rings all the time or fancy cars or that kind of stuff. It's just that having that connection of bonding and teamship and teamwork and knowing that this is the only person in this world that is as close to you as they are. Nobody in the whole world is like that. And like the two of you, that's it. This is the circle that has been created. And the circle, I always say the door swings out, meaning you can't come in this circle right here. It's only swinging out. That means we going out that door. You ain't coming in here. And then the outer layer of the circle is our children and our in-laws and our family and our jobs. But this circle that we have, that's it. That's the circle that you come and lay your head in. And when it's a bad day, come on back, come on in this circle. And everything else stops. So helping couples understand that this is real and it's important and it's fun. It's happy, it's sexy, it's all the things that you want it to be right there. And helping them establish that point in life. And see, what you guys are doing is showing people that it is okay. It's okay to rebound. It's okay to come back. And when you come back, you're back. And you live a normal life. You don't live a life whereas, you're just kind of sturgeon and you just don't move and you don't laugh and you don't talk and you don't turn your head and Eric, it's okay to kiss your wife. It's okay to hug your wife. It's okay to lay on your husband. That's okay. Sometimes we get a disconnect on that, but showing that fun is good because you can't fake that.
Sure.
Yeah, it's okay for me to grab a butt.
It is okay. Cause I get enough of that too. So
my kids are like, why are you guys always touching each other and laughing?
No. You're supposed to be able to do that. It's I think some of the couples, we let them know that it's okay to do that. Sometimes when you have problems in a relationship, there's some reservation about that touching. And some women might think, because of women or who they are and men who they are, you kind of think that's going to lead to something else. And you're in the kitchen cooking and he's touching and you're like, look, not right now. I got to finish cooking. But sometimes my husband always says that's not the case. The case is just that I want to touch you. I don't want to take it any further than that. It's just, I just want to be playful. And it took me a while to get to that.
That ground's good for a reason. She likes to ground it.
Oh my God.
But see, that's what's fun. And it's contagious. And more couples have to be that way because I think, especially people that are of color, we got to get better with this. We got to get better, and I pray that what you do, what I do, and what millions of others do is to help people understand this is a good place to be. It's a good place to be. It's a healthy place to be. But you have to make it what you want it to be. You can't make it like your grandmothers or your great grandmothers. It can't be like your mom and your dads. You take what's good and you leave the rest. And that's what the Bible talks about, establishing your household. Yeah. Well, only two people can establish that household. You and your partner and God. That's how you establish it. And when you do that, if you say I want fun, then you're going to do those things to make it fun and to make it happy. So, you know, you guys are doing some amazing things. I tell you, when I'm on the Facebook, and forgive me on Twitter, because I can kind of go off just a little bit on Twitter. All right. I have a life. But being balanced in life is good. Having a balanced life, having a balanced marriage, is a good thing, and you guys just kind of exemplify that. And I know the people that you work with down in Florida are blessed to have you guys, because they need a lot of couples say what they need. They don't need, and it's not taking anything from these people, but therapists and psychologists and psychoanalysts, because there's nothing wrong with them. They say there's nothing wrong with my mind, you know, I'm just a regular person. And they're just regular folk having some difficulties in trying to bring this circle together. And we talk about it's like that Rubik's Cube. You can be forever trying to put this thing together. You might get close to it, but it just hasn't clicked yet. And that can take over time. But I think the majority of the people that we work with are just regular folks. They're good people with bad habits. Yeah. If they get into something other than that, we kind of refer them out to somebody else. But we just work with those people who are just regular people, and regular people want to work with regular people. You know, you either become the uncle and the aunt, or you become the cousin, or you become, you know, the brother and the sister at some level to our clients. That's what we become, and that's how they're able to kind of relate. And so you guys bring that about, that easy way of being able to talk about your concerns and your problems, and how do we get back on track. So how can people get to you guys? How can they get your book? Okay. Where are you going to be at next? You know, what's your website, social media? You know, let the people know what you guys are doing, because you're truly making an impact.
Well, the central place is our website. It's marriagescanwin.com. On that site, we have where you can actually book us for speaking engagements, workshops. You have some dates, and you can put your request in, and then we'll get back, or one of our staff will get back with them to confirm the dates and times. They can also send us emails just if they have simple questions at marriagescanwin@gmail.com. And of course, we're all over social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram.
Marriage Can Win.
Right, at Marriage Can Win, they can just Google us. we're on YouTube. We have some of our teachings on YouTube.
Okay.
Our blooper reels on YouTube. You can subscribe to YouTube. On there, just search Marriages Can Win. Now we have a Game Changers Experience Conference in September.
Okay.
And 15th here in Orlando at the Hyatt Regency on Drive. And we're bringing in a bunch of different guest speakers.
Yeah. Okay. We have a financial advisor, because the goal itself is to help people become the change that they want to see in their lives. Right. That you're not just watching people on social media and helping your husband, helping your family, you know, doing your job, but actually getting in and being the change that you want to see in your life.
Absolutely.
We put ourselves, as women, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner so often. When it comes time to us, we don't even know what we want to do anymore, because we've always been helping other people. True. So the purpose of this experience is we're having the Game Changers live experience to help them be the change that they want to see. So we have a financial advisor coming in to help with their questions about finances. We're flying Gail. We have a Gail Crowder from Bringing the Sexy Back to the Marriage. She'll be having open panel discussions about sex. We have a personal chef that's come in to teach you how to cook in the kitchen as well as in the bedroom.
Right. Good.
And we also have a marriage therapist that will be there. Zanine Thompson, and we also have, I'm overlooking somebody, please don't choke me, an author and guest speaker, Crystal DePass Lynch. You see a lot of her articles on the Huffington Post. So then we're also going to do a surprise pop-up for the men. So if you have women that want to bring their husbands with them, but the husbands are like, I don't want to be in a conference all day, my husband's going to have a special session for the men. Okay. So that they have questions, they want to talk about sex or whatever challenges they have, whatever goes on in the room, it stays in the room.
Absolutely.
They have an opportunity, you know, to be a part of an open panel, but if not, they're going to have their closed segment. So that's going to be in line for them. It's going to be happening that Friday night and that Saturday. And then that way, we have a special discount for them at the Hyatt Regency. So that way they can take advantage of iDrive.
Okay.
And so a lot of times we always hear about the women's conference. Of course, it's a women's conference, but it's also, you know, available. So if men come, we have something for them.
For the husbands.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I always hear that saying, well, you know, don't hate the player.
Don't hate the player, change the game.
Yeah, don't hate the game, don't hate the player. So what you got to do is you got to change the game.
That's true.
Mindset,
right, change the game. Yeah. Don't hate it, but just change it. Change it to where you can win.
Yeah, because the game is pretty old, and it's old and it's stale. And you're absolutely correct. You do, and that's about changing your mindset.
Yeah.
And it's about being okay with change. Because some people just not okay with, you know, my mother didn't do it, my grandmother didn't do it, that's not how my dad do it. And you gotta change it. You gotta do a new thing. Because if you don't, you stay in a complacent role.
Right.
And then you get stagnant. Then you think you're bored with your partner, but it's not your partner that's boring. It's actually you with a closed mind that is keeping things where they are. And you're absolutely right. You say, I'll go to the next person, but you have the same problem because it's you.
Different person, right?
Yeah, you need to be, absolutely. And it's good though, even when you have your conferences and those kind of things, it's good to always have that component for the men.
Yes. Because
women might get a whole lot more in it, but men, there's only a few things men really want to hear anyway. So if you can give them that, you really made an impact, because the woman is going to come in and the tools that she's learned, she's going to be able to kind of slide those in, because I'm just, it's something about, I know this is a whole nother topic and I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's something about the power of a woman. And being a woman, there's a lot of power that we have. But the thing is, we use it the wrong way. And if we use it the right way, I always say there's got to be a Esther and a Delilah in this house. And they're both here. And you use it in the way it has to be used, but not in a way that's going to circumvent the position of your husband, or in a way that's going to cause harm to your marriage relationship, because you know what he likes and you know what he wants. But then you know what you like and what you want, and that power will get you everything you want. And I'm going to leave it right there.
But see, that's why we have that men piece, because I'm like, hey, men, women are changing the game.
Right.
They're winning in corporate America. They're winning as entrepreneurs. They're winning in all aspects of life. We men are starting to fall back. We got to get up on our game. We got to step forward. We got to learn some new, I won't say tricks, but strategies. And
strategies.
we gotta get up on our game, man.
Right.
It's a change for women, but we can't be left out.
That's true. That's true. Women are moving pretty fast. And I'm praying that, as I said, we can kind of, with all that we do all over the country with you and the people you work with and who we work with, and those that are helping couples, can make it enlightening and fun for them, to where the young people can see that this is a stable position to be in for life. So you guys have been amazing, of course, as usual. And I thank you for taking out your time to come in a little bit and kind of talk about what you're doing. And please do not be a stranger. I won't let you be a stranger, because I'll be knocking on the door again to come in. And when it get close time to your conference, definitely let's do that, so that we can just kind of let people know, because you're not far from Atlanta. It's straight 75. I think 75. We usually, of course, we're usually there. Go to Orlando often, but it's a short drive, so it can be a blessing to a couple, you know, and have that weekend in Orlando together. So you guys have an amazing day, amazing week, and I thank you, Sakeisha and Eric, for coming on Can We Talk and giving us some insight. So
thanks for having us.
Listen now, they're feeling pretty good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a great night. And thanks again for coming on Can We Talk.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Any gentleman that's on or lady that's on, that was Sakeisha and her husband, Eric, and they have a book called Marriage Can Win. And actually, it can win if you wanted to win. It can, and they're doing some amazing things in Orlando, and I just wanted them to be on just so you can see the interaction of two people. Usually I would have my husband on, but of course he's doing some things, so he's busy, but I'm gonna catch him to come on so that you can meet him as well, and some of you have already met him. But we do Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy. We work with a lot of couples as well. But this couple is in Orlando, and they're doing some amazing things, and they're loving each other, and they're having fun, and that's what it's all about. So that's it for tonight, and I want to thank you all for allowing me to be in your space. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk, and look forward to some more amazing women that are going to come on the platform, and we're going to talk about some things that you normally wouldn't talk about. I want you to be informed. I want you to be empowered, and I want you to definitely be in love with yourself. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk, and I look forward to seeing you on the next segment of Can We Talk. Make it a truly, truly, truly amazing day. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Yo.